The Galactic command chamber pulsed with light, holograms flickering in hues of deep cerulean and violent crimson. Alien generals of every imaginable species hovered above their anti-grav thrones. Scaled reptilians with slitted eyes, gelatinous amoeboid tacticians, avian warlords with razor-tipped feathers, each sneering their own way at the swirling projection of Earth, spinning small and fragile in the void. Primitive, hissed Admiral Krillix of the Creel Dominion, his mandibles clicking with contempt. Their weapons fire solid metal projectiles. They still burn dead plants for fuel. And they send females into battle. Females. A ripple of derisive laughter echoed across the hall, 1,000 vocal cords producing a discordant symphony of mockery. Commander Thar, a member of the Cephalid Thinkers, floated silently at the edge of the assembly. His pale blue skin shimmered faintly under the artificial light, and his four luminous eyes blinked out of sequence. Unlike his peers, he wasn't laughing. Instead, he tapped his data tendrils nervously against the side of his chair, scrolling through live feeds from the Earth Defense Force. There was something off about the humans, something he couldn't quantify. "Let the mammals amuse themselves," said High Strategist Olava, her voice like cracking glass. "We'll record their demise for historical study." But Thar's gaze lingered on a specific file, a blinking red priority marker. Sergeant Harper Quinn, EDF Sniper Corps. The image of a human woman in camouflage fatigues appeared before him. Her dark hair pulled into a loose braid, sunglasses perched on her nose, and a faint smirk tugging at her lips as though she'd heard the galaxy laughing, and didn't care. On Earth's lunar base, Harper Harpi, Quinn chewed on a piece of bubblegum and hummed Bon Jovi under her breath. The air smelled faintly of cleaning solvent and the scorched circuits of deactivated drones. Her sniper rifle, lovingly nicknamed Lucille, rested against her shoulder as she adjusted the virtual rangefinder projected over her left eye. Around her, EDF recruits ran through simulations, sweating and swearing, while robotic instructors barked orders. "Quinn!" barked Sergeant Major Dillard, a barrel-chested man whose idea of relaxation was polishing boots with a toothbrush. "Quit serenading yourself and prep for the live drill." "Yes, sir," Harper said sweetly, blowing a bubble and letting it pop with an obnoxious snap. "Permission to engage?" Dillard rolled his eyes. "Granted. Don't embarrass the planet." As the virtual battlefield materialized around her, Harper crouched low, scanning the terrain. "Embarrass the planet, huh? Guess I'll hold off on my karaoke routine." Her comm crackled. "EDF Sniper Corps, commence simulation. Hostile drones inbound." Harper exhaled slowly, fingers resting on the trigger. The first drone zipped into range, its cloaking field shimmering as it shifted in and out of visibility. She fired once. The drone spiraled into digital dust. "One shot, one kill," she whispered, almost reverently. "Permission to engage." 10 more drones appeared, darting through the simulation like angry hornets. Her squad mates panicked, shouting coordinates and scrambling for cover. Harper didn't scramble. She moved like water, flowing from one firing position to the next, her shots echoing in perfect rhythm. Each squeeze of the trigger was accompanied by a muttered 90s movie quote. "Yippee-key-bang, mother. Bang, trucker." In 20 seconds, every drone was down. Her squad mates stared in open-mouthed awe. The robotic instructor paused, mechanical voice hitching slightly as it processed the results. Simulation completed. All targets neutralized. Sniper Quinn, 100% accuracy. Time, 19.8 seconds. Error margin, 0. "Neat," Harper said, holstering Lucille and blowing another bubble. "So when's the real challenge start?" The Galactic command feed stuttered as Thar rewound the footage again. He watched as Harper adjusted her sunglasses mid-shot, unfazed as a drone streaked past her ear. He could almost hear the faint strains of music coming from her comm, something primitive and loud, all wailing guitars and pounding drums. "She's anomalous," Thar muttered to himself. His tentacles curled tighter around his data tablet. Impossible accuracy, improvised techniques, and that strange auditory accompaniment. "She is a statistical fluke." Kulik spat from across the table, his mandibles flaring in irritation. "One ape with good aim does not make a species dangerous. But Thar wasn't so sure. He'd studied war for centuries across dozens of civilizations, and yet these humans, they didn't fight like anything he'd seen before. Their tactics weren't elegant nor logical, nor based on any discernible doctrine. They were chaotic, unpredictable, dangerous, and worst of all, they seemed to enjoy it. Later that day, in the EDF barracks, Harper sat cross-legged on her bunk polishing Lucille, headphones blasting guns and roses. Her squad mates milled about, arguing over which 80s action hero would win in a fistfight. "Obviously it's Stallone," said Big Mac, flexing his massive biceps. "Rambo could take anyone." "You're out of your mind," Pixie countered, flipping her pink hair. "Schwarzenegger's Commando wins every time." Harper grinned faintly and muttered, "Chuck Norris would roundhouse kick him both into orbit." The barracks door whooshed open. Standing there in all his cephalopod glory was Commander Thar, his bioluminescent skin shimmering in confused patterns. He floated forward awkwardly, data tendrils twitching. "I am observing your kind," he said haltingly, his translator struggling with human vernacular. "You are primitive, yet effective. Explain." Harper didn't look up. She clicked her rifle together and said, "You wouldn't understand Squidward." Squidward. Thar blinked all four eyes. "Is this a human rank?" "No," Harper said, smirking. "It's worse. It's a nickname." Her squad erupted in laughter as Thara's skin flickered a puzzled purple. "You are an odd species," he murmured. "And you're about to see how odd we can get," Harper replied, loading a fresh magazine with a snap. "Because word is the bugs are coming to crash the party on the moon, and we're the ones setting the table." Thar hesitated, data tendrils curling. He didn't know why, but a ripple of something, unease perhaps, ran down his spine as Harper stood and slung her rifle over her shoulder. "Permission to engage?" she asked, almost lazily. Thar stared. He didn't know why, but he felt the urge to whisper, "Permission granted." And for the first time in his centuries of service, Commander Thar wondered if the Galactic Command had made a grave mistake laughing at Earth's women snipers. The moon's surface shimmered under artificial light, dust motes glittering like stray diamonds as the EDF outpost thrummed with nervous energy. In the shadow of the dome, Harper Quinn leaned against the rail of the observation deck, chewing on her last piece of bubblegum and staring into the starless void. The vast, silent expanse never failed to calm her. Out there, no one could hear a sniper whisper permission to engage. Behind her, laughter echoed to the habitat module. The squad was throwing a pre-battle barbecue, because apparently no one told them it was suicidal to party before a probable massacre. The smell of grilled ribs and charred corn mixed with a faint scent of gun oil and lunar dust, a combination only humans could produce. "Quinn!" bellowed Big Mac from inside, his meaty arms flipping a rack of ribs over an open flame. "You gonna come join us or brood out there like Batman?" Harper smirked without turning around. "Batman doesn't brood. He strategizes dramatically. You don't strategize. You sass." Pixie teased, her pink hair pulled into two buns and streaked with barbecue sauce like war paint. "Get in here. It's the last real food we're going to see before the bug invasion." Reluctantly, Harper pushed off the rail and strolled back inside. The room was alive with chatter and music. Someone had rigged up an old boombox that wheezed out living on a prayer. Big Mac was manning the grill like it was a heavy weapons platform. Pixie and Boomer were in a heated debate over which movie was the best representation of human tactical superiority. "It's Die Hard," Boomer declared, gesturing wildly with a rib in hand. "John McClane is the pinnacle of human warfare." "You're insane," Pixie shot back. "It's Home Alone." Kevin McAllister turned his house into a war zone with paint cans and marbles. "That's real human ingenuity." "I thought you were all soldiers," came a cold, alien voice from the corner. Everyone froze. Commander Thar floated there, his translucent blue skin glowing faintly, bioluminescent patterns flickering across his tentacle form like an unreadable code. He eyed the sizzling meat on the grill with something like horror. "This ritual. You eat charred animal flesh before combat." Big Mac grinned, baring all his teeth. We call a barbecue Squidward. Builds morale. You want a rib? I do not possess a mouth for such consumption, Thar replied stiffly, curling his tendrils tighter. This frivolity is illogical. The Grimlock's invasion force is already mobilizing. You mammals should be preparing for battle. Pixie leaned back in her chair, smirking. This is preparation. We fuel the body and the soul. And you're welcome to watch and take notes, Harper added, plucking a piece of corn from the grill and taking a bite. You might learn something about human strategy. Thar's luminescence dimmed slightly. I have studied war for over 200 cycles. Your species operates on chaos and luck. Harper wiped her fingers on her fatigues and picked up her rifle case from beside her chair. And yet we're still here. Squidward. Makes you wonder, huh? Before Thar could retort, a shrill alarm split the air. Red light strobed across the module as a robotic voice announced, "Incoming Grimlock's boarding party. All EDF units report to battle stations." The room erupted into movement. Big Mac tossed his apron aside and slammed a fresh clip into his rifle. Pixie grabbed her custom sidearm and shouted, "Moon prism power, let's wreck some bugs." Boomer tied a bandana around his head, muttering, "They're not real until you hear the hiss of their acid spit." Harper calmly slung Lucille over her shoulder and looked at Thar, who floated in stunned silence. "Guess the party's over," she said softly, eyes narrowing. "Time to make history." The lunar corridor was a kaleidoscope of flashing lights and running boots. Harper's squad moved in formation, scanning every vent and shadow as they approached the outer dome. Outside, through the transparent surface, massive Grimlock ships settled into position like metal insects preparing to lay eggs. "Weapons hot," Harper whispered over comms. "Copy that," Pixie chirped. "Let's paint the moon green with bug goo." The first wave came in fast. Grimlock's warriors, tall and angular, their chitinous armor glinting. Their cloaking tech flickered, making them shimmer in and out of visibility like nightmare phantoms. EDF plasma rifles opened fire in bursts, but the Grimlock seemed to adapt quickly, skittering and vanishing into the shadows. Screams echoed down the hall as one squad was overwhelmed. Harper dropped to one knee, Lucille in hand. She closed one eye, let her breath slow, and scanned for the faint ripple in the air that gave away a cloaked Grimlock's. "Permission to engage," she whispered, more to herself than anyone. She squeezed the trigger. The bullet, primitive supersonic metal, punched through the alien's exoskeleton and splattered green ichor against the dome wall. One shot, one kill. "Primitive weapons," she muttered. "Guess no one told them we're stubborn as hell." Elsewhere, Thar floated above the battlefield, watching in mounting disbelief as Harper's squad held their ground. Big Mac body slammed the Grimlocks into a bulkhead and shouted, "Welcome to Earth, you slimy cockroach." Boomer tossed a home-rig explosive drone into a vent, grinning as an entire squad of bugs detonated in a fireball. Pixie somersaulted over a railing, firing a trio of headshots in midair. "Bugs Bunny sends his regards," she yelled. It was chaos. It was madness. It was working. Thar's data tendrils trembled. This shouldn't be possible. Their weapons are outdated. Their tactics nonsensical. Their morale unshakable. An EDF operator shouted over the comms, "Sector 7 secure. Quinn squad neutralized the first wave." "Squad Quinn," Thar muttered. He could hear Harper's calm voice over the radio, directing fire with surgical precision. "No panic. No hesitation. We're not done yet," Harper said as she reloaded Lucille with a metallic snap. "Tell command to keep their tentacles out of this. Earth girls are handling it." The second wave was inbound, bigger, meaner, cloaks shimmering, and Harper just smirked, flipping down her rifle scope. "Permission to engage?" she asked. "Granted," came the EDF commander's shaky voice. Through the viewing chamber, Thar watched as Harper's first bullet punched through a Grimlock's commander's skull from 2 kilometers out. Somewhere in his four-lobed alien brain, for the first time in centuries, a strange and unwelcome thought took root. Perhaps these humans were born for war. And as the battle raged on and Earth's ragtag defenders turned the tide with grit, gumption, and ridiculous catchphrases, Thar could no longer hear the laughter of Galactic Command in his memory. He heard something else entirely, an uneasy silence. The Grimlock's fleet burned in the distance, fracture hulls glowing like dying embers in the lunar night. Wreckage floated past the observation dome. Pieces of once feared warships reduced to silent debris. Inside the EDF command center, the air hummed with static and suppressed disbelief. No one spoke for a long moment. Not the human officers, not the alien observers. Harper Quinn stood with her rifle propped casually against her shoulder, her fatigue stained with green ichor and lunar dust. A fresh piece of gum clicked between her teeth as she surveyed the damage report scrolling across the holoscreen. 38 confirmed kills, she said evenly. 3 assists, and 1 unlucky bug that tripped over his own legs and broke his neck. Should we count that 1, or does it go in the natural causes column? Count it. Big Mac grunted from behind a steaming mug of coffee. His knuckles were scraped raw, and there was a faint scorch mark across his cheek, but he was grinning like a kid at Christmas. A dead bug's a dead bug. Pixie twirled her pink hair around her finger, her cheeks still flushed from the fight. I swear, that last shot you took, Harpie, you went full-on Sarah Connor. They'll be telling stories about that for centuries. Harper shrugged. It wasn't that hard. Just physics and a little luck. But Thar knew better. The cephalid commander hovered silently in the corner, his bioluminescent skin dimmed to a nervous violet. His data tendrils twitched erratically as he replayed the battle footage on his internal processors. He had seen Harper's last shot, a ricochet off 2 crumbling satellites to punch clean through a Grimlock's commander's reinforced helm. That was not physics. That was madness made manifest. You are an anomaly, Thar said at last, his voice low and even. Harper turned her head, regarding him with calm, unreadable eyes. Anomaly? Or maybe we're just not the easy prey you thought we were. The alien's 4 glowing eyes blinked out of sequence. Your kind should not have won. Your weapons are primitive. Your numbers are insufficient. And yet, Harper echoed, popping her gum. You ever think maybe all your fancy tech and strategies aren't worth a damn if you underestimate the little guy? Thar said nothing. His data tendrils slowly curled inward, an instinctive cephalid gesture of unease. Elsewhere, in the polished obsidian halls of Galactic Command, the laughter had stopped. Holograms flickered with scenes of the lunar battle. Grimlock's warships crumpling under sustained sniper fire, cloaked assassins dropping mid-strike as if some invisible hand had plucked them from the field. This is unacceptable, hissed Admiral Krulix, his mandibles clicking furiously. We deployed an entire assault fleet. How did these hairless apes repel it? They didn't repel it, corrected strategist Olava, her voice a shard of ice. They dismantled it piece by piece, with gunpowder weapons, and female snipers. The council chamber fell silent. At last, a low, hesitant voice broke the stillness. Perhaps the humans are not as primitive as we believed. Krulix snarled, slamming a clawed fist into the table. Nonsense. This is an isolated incident, a statistical improbability. But deep down, even he wasn't sure anymore. The EDF barracks buzzed with energy as Harper's squad debriefed over instant coffee and reheated lunar rations. You know what this means, right? Boomer said, leaning back in his chair. His conspiracy theorist eyes gleamed with wild excitement. We're legends now, galactic-wide. They'll be telling stories about us in bug nurseries to scare their little larvae. Pixie giggled. They'll say, eat your greens or Harper Quinn will shoot you from 5 clicks out. Great, Harper muttered. I become a bedtime monster. You become a symbol, Big Mac corrected, his voice unusually serious. For Earth. For everyone out here fighting to prove we're not just some backwater species waiting to be conquered. Or maybe we're just lucky, Harper said softly, staring down at her rifle. But even as she spoke, she could feel the weight of Thara's gaze on her. The alien floated silently near the doorway, his luminous eyes studying her with unnerving intensity. You are not lucky, he said suddenly. The squad turned to look at him. You are lethal. Harper raised an eyebrow. Lethal? Yes. Thar's voice deepened. The Grivlocks are one of the most adaptive warrior species in the galaxy. They've fought and won against civilizations 10,000 years older than yours. And yet your squad killed them with bullets. Pixie smirked. Guess no one told them about American marksmanship. Thar's skin flickered uncertainly. It is not just your weapons. It is your methods, your unpredictability. You operate on instinct and improvisation. No algorithm can account for it. Harper leaned back, folded her arms. So what you're saying is we're dangerous? Yes, Thar said gravely. You are dangerous. 3 days later, the Galactic network erupted with reports. An anonymous leak had released footage of Harper's squad fighting on the moon, edited into a dramatic montage with pulsing synth music. Aliens across the galaxy watched in horrified fascination as a single human sniper whispered permission to engage before eliminating an entire Grivlock's platoon. Meme cultures bloomed overnight. Harper Quinn with glowing red eyes under the caption, "Earth girls are lethal." Big Mac, swinging a rib like a battle axe. Pixie firing twin pistols with the subtitle Moon Prism Justice. Even Galactic Command couldn't stop the spread. In the EDF war room, Harper's squad gathered around the holomap, which displayed the Grivlock's fleet regrouping near Europa. Reinforcements were coming. Bigger, meaner, more heavily armed. "We got their attention now," Boomer muttered, and not in a fun way. Harper's jaw tightened. "They'll come at us with everything they've got." Thar hovered closer, his bioluminescence pulsing an eerie shade of blue. "They are afraid," he said quietly, "but fear makes them more dangerous." "So we hit them harder," Big Mac rumbled. Pixie grinned. "Yeah, show them what Earth girls are made of." Harper adjusted her scope and smirked faintly. "Permission to engage," she whispered. Thar hesitated, then nodded. Permission granted. And somewhere far above the solar system, alien warlords began to whisper a name they never thought they would fear. Harpy Quinn. The stars outside Earth's orbit looked deceptively calm, a tapestry of cold light stitched across the black. But beyond that veil, chaos churned. The Grivlock's armada had arrived in full force. Hundreds of jagged, insectoid vessels descending like a storm of steel locusts. Their arrival darkened the viewports of every human outpost in orbit, blocking the sun, the moon, and for some, even hope. In the EDF command center, alarms howled and lights flashed in angry red. Holograms projected the incoming swarm in terrifying detail. Each vessel armed to the mandibles, their cloaking fields rippling in and out like predators testing the shadows. And in the middle of it all, Harper Quinn knelt calmly, rifle balanced across her knees, gum clicking steadily as she worked the bolt with smooth precision. "Biggest bug infestation I've ever seen," she said, squinting at the readout on her scope. "Might need a bigger raid." Pixie grinned despite herself as she loaded her pistols, the pink streaks in her hair catching the cold light. "Let's make it a lunar extermination event. First bug splattered wins the rest of Mac's barbecue ribs." "You're on," Big Mac said, tightening the strap on his combat vest. The giant of a man patted the teddy bear duct taped to his chest like a lucky charm. Chuck Norris would want us to hit hard. Boomer slung his modified rifle over one shoulder, tapping furiously at a datapad. Just uploaded a little surprise into their communication array. "Say hello to Operation Rickroll." "Please tell me you didn't." Harper started, but it was too late. Across the void, a faint vibration of static carried the unmistakable opening notes of "Never Gonna Give You Up." The Grivlock's fleet hesitated. They're broadcasting on all channels. One EDF comm tech stammered, trying and failing not to laugh. Thar floated in the corner, his bioluminescent skin flickering an unreadable pattern of light and shadow. "This is not war. This is lunacy." Harper stood, snapping her rifle scope into place. "Welcome to Earth. Squidward. Permission to engage?" Thar hesitated. Every protocol in his centuries of service screamed at him to say no, to stop this madness before it consumed everything. And yet, permission granted. The first wave hit like a hammer. Grivlock's landing pod slammed into the lunar surface, cracking the regolith and vomiting swarms of armored warriors into the corridors of EDF's outposts. Their chittering war cries echoed through the steel bones of the station, followed by bursts of plasma fire as human defenders scrambled to meet them. Harper's squad didn't scramble. They stalked. Two cloaked at your 3 o'clock, Pixie said over comms, her voice sugar-sweet and deadly. Copy, Harper whispered, sighting through her scope. She watched the faint shimmer of air, caught the barest distortion of light, and pulled the trigger. Bang! One Grimlock dropped, its cloak flickering as ichor spread across the floor. Bang! The second never even screamed. Score 2 for Team Earth Girl, Harper murmured. Pixie blew a kiss into her mic. Told you, Moon Prism power. Elsewhere, Big Mac ripped a Grimlock's warrior clean off its feet and used its own scything limb as a bludgeon. Who's the primitive now? He roared, smashing another into a wall with a sickening crunch. Boomer's Roomba bomb zipped under a group of cloaked bugs, beeping cheerfully before exploding in a ball of fire and shrapnel. Never underestimate home appliances, he said with a grin. From the observation deck, Thar watched it all unfold. Humans fought with reckless abandon, with no care for symmetry or strategy, and yet somehow, they pushed the invaders back. They're improvising, Thar whispered to no one. They don't calculate. They react. And the galaxy's most disciplined warriors couldn't keep up. As the EDF held a line on the moon, Harper slipped into the shadows of the docking bay, her rifle aimed at the largest Grimlock's vessel still hovering above the surface. Mac, I need you to clear me a shot, she said over comms. Already on it, Mac replied, tossing a plasma grenade into the hull of a troop carrier. But you owe me ribs after this. Pixie's voice cut in. You're going to try that shot, aren't you? Harper smirked. You know me. She exhaled slowly, letting her heartbeat settle into the rhythm of the lunar base's vibrations. The shot she was about to take wasn't just long, it was impossible. She'd have to ricochet the bullet off a satellite solar panel to pierce the Grimlock's captain's skull. Permission to engage, she whispered. Quinn, the EDF commander started. Granted. Thar cut in, his voice low. Harper fired. The bullet sang through the void, struck the satellite panel at the perfect angle, and curved like a guided missile straight into the Grimlock's captain's head. The entire vessel shuddered, its systems failing as it spiraled into the surface with a deafening roar. Across the galaxy, aliens watched in stunned silence as footage of the shot went viral. The memes multiplied. Earth girls are lethal. Permission to engage, denied by physics. Granted by Harper Quinn. Primitive weapons? Primitive this. The laughter that had once filled the Galactic command halls was gone. This changes everything. Admiral Krulik's rasped, his mandibles trembling. They are chaos incarnate, Olava said softly. And that is why they win. Back in the EDF barracks, Harper leaned against the wall, sunglasses low on her nose, a faint smile playing at her lips. So, Squidward, she said, still think we're just lucky? Thar floated silently, his eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. No, he said at last. I think you're terrifying. Pixie clinked her coffee mug against Harper's. To Earth girls, may the galaxy never underestimate us again. Harper smirked, chewing her gum lazily. Yippee-ki-yay. And somewhere, far beyond the solar system, civilizations whispered the name Harper Quinn like a curse, like a prayer, like a warning.